Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a great honor to be as a speaker at the International Symposium on Low Carbon Prosperity, organized by the German Advisory Council on Global Change. I'm so pleased to take this opportunity to share my views on low carbon transformation from a Chinese perspective. The global climate change has been recognized as the biggest challenge to humanity in the 21st century. World leaders, as well as scientists, economists, have been working very hard to seek good solutions to that climate problem. At the international level, on the basis of the scientific assessment report of the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the world nations were able to agree on the international climate regime represented by the UNFCCC, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and its Kyoto Protocol. The climate challenge actually requires all nations joining their hands and working together by taking specific actions of both mitigation and adaptation. Of course, in accordance with the principle of equity, the principle of CBDR, the common but differentiated responsibility. However, actions alone cannot ultimately resolve the climate problem. The actions need to be combined with the revolution of minds and the innovation of technologies. This will give birth to the new socioeconomic revolution characterized by low carbon emissions. From Copenhagen to Cancun to Durban, low carbon development and transformation has been gaining more and more support and embracing universal acceptance. Low carbon development has become the mainstream of world economic development and technology innovation. Low carbon development is possible, necessary, and doable. So against this background, how does China see low carbon development? What does China do in terms of low carbon development? And what has China achieved in pursuing low carbon development? I would like to use three words to answer those questions. That is pioneering, piloting, and practicing. So I should be very brave because I don't think I got much time, but I will try to manage the time allocated to me. Firstly, by pioneer, I mean that China is among the first to integrate the low carbon concept into its national socio-economic development plan. China considers low carbon development as a fundamental national strategy and sees great opportunities to transform the way of economic development and to restructure the economy. Green and low carbon development has become the guiding policy of the 12th five-year plan for socio-economic development to achieve sustainable development through building resource conservation and environment-friendly society. It is really a big change of development mentality and routine. We are seeking new paths for industrialization. GDP growth in China is no longer the only objective to pursue. More emphasis is placed on the quality and efficiency of economic development. The aspirational GDP growth rate for the 12th five-year plan is reduced from 7.5% for the previous 11th five-year plan to 7%. That is a demonstration of our change of mentality in terms of approaching GDP growth. In order to reduce the carbon intensity of the economic growth, the 12th five-year plan calls for reasonable cap on total amount of energy consumption and outlines various policies and measures to mitigate carbon emissions. ranging from economic restructuring, energy conservation, and improving energy efficiency, enlarging the share of non-fossil energy in the prime energy consumption, to enhancing carbon sinks through afforestation and sustainable forest management. Specific targets have been set for the 12th Five-Year Plan period. That is by 2015 to reduce energy intensity by 16% and carbon intensity by 17%, and to increase non-fossil energy share to 11.4%. As a part of the endeavor to achieve the target we had already announced, the 40 to 45% carbon intensity reduction and the 15% non-fossil energy share by 2020. We are preparing a 10-year national program on climate change up to 2020, which will be submitted to the State Council for approval and published by the end of the year. We have also looked into the future. We're not just resting with the current 10 years period, and we had already embarked on research and studies on a longer-term low-carbon strategy with a view to formulating our national low-carbon development roadmap towards 2050. Secondly, by piloting, I mean that we are exploring various ways of low-carbon development and try to build the appropriate model and gain experiences. Since there's no established model to follow, and given the differences in economic development level and natural resources endowment, full consideration has to be given to the local conditions and specific circumstances in piloting new low-carbon development. In this regard, we had already launched a piloting program of low-carbon provinces and cities. The pilot regions have already presented their implementation plans with clear objectives, policies, measures, actions to reduce carbon intensity, as well as various institutional arrangements and mechanisms. We have also initiated piloting carbon trading systems in 7 provinces and cities, including Beijing, Shanghai, Tianjin, Zhongqing, Guangdong, Hubei, and Shenzhen. In the design of these piloting trading systems, close coordination is needed to ensure that those independent piloting systems could be linked and easily merged into one regional system. And the ultimate goal is to establish our national system for carbon emission trading. We are researching on standards for low-carbon product labeling and on the issues of carbon footprint. We have chosen Guangdong Province and Chongqing City as piloting regions. Thirdly, by practicing, I mean that implementation actions have already got off the ground. For the previous 11th Five-Year Plan period, we had been able to achieve the 20% energy intensity target and have saved energy about 630 million tons co-equivalent, which also equivalent to saving 1,500 million tons of CO2 emissions. For the current 12th Five-Year Plan period, the State Council had issued 2 very important documents last year. One is regarding energy conservation, the other is on greenhouse gas emissions. Various specific initiatives have been launched, including energy conservation, development of renewables, low-carbon transportation, green buildings, low-carbon technology R&D, greenhouse gas inventory, and MRV procedures. Both the energy intensity and carbon intensity targets have been sub-distributed to each and every province across the country. A combination of policies and incentives are put in place to promote energy efficiency and the development of renewables. All new development projects are subject to energy conservation assessment. We had also used the feed-in tariff to promote the development of renewable energy. We have launched various public campaigns to enhance low-carbon awareness and disseminate information on how the public could make contribution to a low-carbon society and to transform people's consumption behavior and way of life. In conclusion, I'd say that low-carbon transformation is in the interest of both China's and the world's development and prosperity. China is a constructive player in the international partnership towards low-carbon future. Thank you.